Hey everyone, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guide here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about something that everybody is talking about: how and why sourcing in. Let's try this one more time. As you notice, we started late today, and I'm a little frazzled. I just got up from the fetal position, and I'm going to try to say this again: how and why you should be sourcing in Mexico. How's that? We're also going to be talking about the benefits of sourcing in Mexico, the main differences between Mexico and China and what to look for, and how to find suppliers in Mexico. So, Kelsey, hit the music.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm.
Okay, as I blundered earlier on, we are going to be talking about how and why you should be sourcing in Mexico or taking a look in South America. Anyways, over here on this side of the world, my partner Tim Jordan is going to be joining us. He is the co-founder or founder of Private Label Legion and the host of AMPM podcast. He's also developed some really cool out-of-the-box training and growth strategies for Amazon sellers. Also, we've got another person joining us today, Amy Weiss, who is the CEO of Amazing At-Home E-commerce Consulting. And her coaching focuses on helping brands develop unique products and helping navigate their way through the e-commerce landscape. So, welcome, Tim and Amy.
Okay. Oh, okay. We're just gonna jump into it. So first,
you don't look like Tim and Jamie.
You
Jamie,
are frazzled today.
Amy.
But here we go. So we're first off, let's take a deep breath. Let's just breathe a little bit. We're good. We're fine. We started a little late today, but we're good to go. So this is kind of
I'll
fun.
give you a virtual slap.
So first off,
a timeout.
Let's smash those like buttons.
A virtual timeout.
Yeah. Okay. So let's smash those like buttons. Give us those thumbs up. My name is Kelsey, and yeah, welcome to the Lunch with Norm podcast.
We're going to
be going. Yeah, I know, you're just completely whoop. But yeah, so if you haven't watched the show before, you can head over to our Facebook group, Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA and e-commerce collective. You can ask your questions too. We're going to be doing kind of a Q&A session for this podcast. We'll be bringing on Amy and Tim in just a few seconds.
They're supposed to be on there now, but you so rudely interrupted me.
But before we do that, we're going to throw it over to our sponsors, and we'll see you in just a few seconds.
Do you want to take your business global but are unsure of where to start? Z is the missing piece you need for international FBA success. They are a one-stop importer of record shop, including compliance and logistics services. They focus on all the elements involved in a smooth first-time custom clearance so that you can focus on what you're good at, selling. Click on the screen now or follow the link in the description box below and get $125 off your first-time shipment today. All right, Kels, you coming back? You going to say anything?
All right. So sit back, relax, enjoy that cup of coffee, and let's enjoy the show. So welcome, Amy and Tim.
You even took that line. The one line I get.
Hey, y'all need to get your crap together today.
Holy crap.
What is happening?
You know what? I am so proud. My glasses, just like the other day, are steaming up. I'm not kidding you. I am. Anyways, my camera is gone. I have another camera that we got on, and we're using it. You guys could probably see the tip of my nose. The computer is pressed up against my face. Anyway, I'm so glad that I have the incredible Amy Weiss here and Tim. And
Tim.
All right. So let's get this thing started. Mexico. We've been talking about it. Actually, we started talking about this months and months and months ago. And Amy, I know that you kind of brought it to our attention about some of the things that were happening over there. But why Mexico? Why is it so important to take a look at South America, Mexico right now?
Well, I think the most important thing that all of us realize is that the landscape is changing. China is not what it used to be. And it's not that Mexico is a replacement for China. It's not that any country is a replacement for China. That's not what we're talking about today. We're not saying that we're replacing China, because we know we're far from that. But we all want to start exploring other options. We want to ensure that, we know what our options even are. And here we have Mexico, which is practically North America, right? It's very close. The timelines are very short to be able to get your products to North America. So why not start discovering all of the opportunities that are in Mexico? And by the way, many of major North American corporations have already moved manufacturing to Mexico and Latin America. And it's only a natural progression for our micro brand community to follow suit. So what an incredible opportunity we have to start exploring the manufacturing opportunities in Mexico and understanding what is available to us, so that not to replace China, but to get a better understanding of what's available to us and how we can improve our brands and our timelines.
Fantastic. What about you, Tim? Any thoughts?
Yeah, so I've actually been sourcing in Latin America for about 5 years now. And when I originally started sourcing there, it was for maybe different reasons than what are immediately being talked about. I wanted to create brand stories. I wanted to help underdeveloped countries that are just neighbors, right? And I also love the idea of being able to communicate with suppliers that may be in the same time zone or maybe only a couple hours flight away. So we started sourcing in Central America, so Guatemala and Honduras, and then have eventually moved into Mexico and places like that. And I think that there's a little misconception about the importance of sourcing or learning how to source, at least in Latin America. And that misconception is that this is all just a response to the immediate crisis of logistical problems coming out of Asia. I've heard people say, well, why should I invest in finding new places to source, whether it's Latin America or whether it's India or whether it's Vietnam? Because all of this COVID supply chain stuff is going to fix itself eventually, and it won't be a delay. And what I tell people is that the whole COVID logistical supply chain just exacerbated an existing need already. It just threw fuel on a fire that was already burning. And that fire that was burning was the concept of being able to source locally, being able to source with less duties and customs because of the North American Free Trade Agreement, stuff like that, as well as being able to communicate more efficiently, to run down and see our suppliers, and to get our products very quickly. So yes, it's been exacerbated, but this has been an interest for a number of years. And like Amy said, only recently has it become more feasible to connect micro brands with micro manufacturers. Ford Motor Company's been building trucks in Mexico for a long time. That doesn't do us any good, right? But the micro brands and the micro manufacturers are starting to meet each other, starting to pair up, starting to learn how to work with each other and create really, really cool sourcing opportunities for brands the size of ours.
Okay. I had Kevin King on Monday. What day is it today? Yep. Wednesday. He was on Monday and he was talking about his product. So he's got this swimsuit for dogs, and he had a lot of problems bringing it in from China. Tim, I think all of us know the issue that he's had. It's been sitting there since May. He could only get it out of Chicago. I think it was in late December. Anyways, he had penalties he had to pay, all this stuff. So he went and he started looking for a facility in South America, and he found an incredible facility in Colombia. So this is something 5 years ago I wouldn't even consider. I mean, there are a lot of differences between the standards or the way people do business in China and the way people are doing business in Mexico or South America. Now, is that changing? Is that landscape changing?
I think it is. And let me also make a little correction here. We've used the term Central America, Latin America, South America, Mexico. This is an interesting concept that I had to learn the hard way, almost embarrassingly.
Oh, are you going to embarrass me, Tim?
Maybe.
Oh, God damn it.
All of those regions that I just mentioned are America. All right, think about that. We are all America. North America, Central America, South America. We are the Americas. And what's interesting is when I started thinking about us all as the Americas and thinking about, being locally and regionally close to each other and also culturally very connected. In fact, the U.S., the United States and Canada, we're the outsiders. The majority of the Americas speak Spanish. I know there are some exceptions. There's Portuguese and some of the Caribbean islands and things like that. But we're kind of the outsiders. And when we talk about sourcing in Latin America in general, that's going to include Mexico, which is part of North America. So Mexico, Central America, and South America. But sometimes it's going to be a little bit tough, like Colombia, right? So how do we go when we find a supplier in Colombia? Well, Kevin has local contacts and assets down there. He can do that. That's why we're talking specifically on Mexico. So just to level set here, when we talk about sourcing opportunities in general, I will make generalized statements about Latin America. Latin America is a big opportunity. Sourcing in Latin America is a great opportunity. When I think more tactically and immediate, we're going to talk about Mexico. So I want to make sure that we're kind of understanding and level setting what we're talking about here. Latin America is a huge opportunity. Most immediately, I think Mexico is because of its geographical proximity to the U.S., as well as their ability to produce a lot more products than, say, a lot of other Latin American countries. So I just wanted to kind of throw that there. But kind of to respond to what you're talking about with Kevin, that's a perfect example of how the world should work. We run into a problem, we run into a headache, we run into a solution. We find that solution, we find another way to source. And what's really cool is it wasn't easy, right? There's not great big giant trade shows and there's not giant directories of suppliers in Latin America, which has made it difficult for people. But now Kevin is in the driver's seat because he found that supplier. Nobody's going to be able to find his competitor, right? Like he has that personal relationship. And that's one thing that I've learned with Latin American manufacturing is it is very relationship based, which is cool because if you'll invest the time and meet the right people and find the right suppliers and show them that you're willing to invest in their business as well, you lock them in as friends and potentially business partners and suppliers for a very, very long time. So it's worth the investment.
And I think it's important to remember that, all of us, most of us started in China, and it is very easy for us to just source products instead of sourcing a process or building a relationship because China has come so far in terms of us being able to just provide a picture of a product and make this thing for me, right? But we have to remember that 20 years ago, that was not the case in China. It took what Tim just explained. It took people going there and building relationships and meeting with manufacturers and together developing better processes and getting certifications and doing things. And so if we want the same results, if we want to be able to work with Mexico the same way that we're able to now work with China, we need to realize that number one, their culture and business practices are not the same. And number two, they are not where China is yet, as far as micro brands working with micro manufacturers. All of us are going to have to work together and work on building those relationships. But just like we see now the benefits in China of doing that, we're going to see those same benefits anywhere we source from that is not there yet, that doesn't have this massive database of, of suppliers and processes that have taken time to build. So I'm stoked about being on the ground floor and being able to learn to source from a new country, and as well as building those relationships and working together, because together we're going to be able to build our own brands as well as the manufacturers that we work with. We're going to be able to build their skills, and what is formed is incredible partnerships with incredible opportunities.
So when the beard used to be on the head, this goes back many, many years ago. My brother and I used to go to China, and we would go and check out suppliers. And suppliers, exactly like Tim was saying, you would break bread with them. First day of business, this goes back 20, 25 years ago. First day of business, we never talked business. We would go in, we would meet, sit down, talk with a translator, and then we would go out to dinner. Next day, we'd come in and we start to negotiate, if that was the case. Is that kind of like what Mexico is right now? You said you have to build relationships, Tim.
I think that it's actually more important in Latin American cultures than Asian cultures, from my experience. I'm not an expert. I'm just a plain old regular old gringo, but I've done a lot of business in China and a lot in Latin America. And yes, I think that for a lot of different reasons, those relationships are more important to build in Latin America. One of the reasons is they do tend to need more education. The suppliers we talk to about what we're trying to do. And it's just because they haven't experienced working with micro brands like ours and working with e-commerce sellers. 5 years ago, you used to go to China and need a freight forwarder and a customs broker and all this stuff. Now the suppliers know. The suppliers can just do everything. They know the verbiage, they know the lingo, they know exactly what they're looking for in packaging. With a lot of the suppliers, especially the smaller suppliers, manufacturers in Latin America, you've got to have a relationship to teach them what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish. I was recently talking to a very good friend of mine from Guatemala who's done a lot of e-commerce sales. And he was reminiscing about the original days when he was trying to source a product for $4 to sell it for $25 on Amazon. And the suppliers were pissed. You're only paying me $4 for this and you're selling it for $25. You're making all this money. It's like, no. Look, we have to ship it. We have to import it. We have marketing costs. We have FBA fees. We have this. And if he didn't have an actual personal relationship with that supplier, the supplier would have said, screw you, I'm going to charge you $12, take it or leave it, right? Also, I think that in a lot of ways, Latin America has been, especially smaller brands, and I don't want to make a generalized statement, but especially the underdeveloped countries, they have been taken advantage of a lot, right? From brands and buyers that think that they can just leverage very inexpensive labor. And I think that especially with the Latin culture, that's kind of rubbed them the wrong way. So what my experience is, a lot of, especially the more traditional Latin and Spanish suppliers, my experience has been that they actually need to learn that I'm looking out for them too. I'm not just trying to come utilize cheap labor. That's not what I'm doing. Like, I want all of us to win. So when I build that relationship, it gives them a sense of trust. Like, hey, maybe Tim's a decent guy, and once for all of us to win here, maybe this is someone that I should work with. I should try to do prototypes with. I should take my time and give samples and pricing, because none of that stuff's free, right? But if I didn't have those relationships, I'd probably get ignored.
And the other thing too, Tim, I think, is to set expectations, right? Because they don't know our brands or how we work, it's important to explain, like, hey, this is a new product for me, or this is an existing product that's already selling, pretty well, and we're whatever it is, but setting those expectations, because unlike in China where you have 40 other suppliers you could go to who are going to make that thing for you, right? It's more important for us to establish those relationships and set those expectations from the beginning. I remember you talking on Online Sellers Cruise about sourcing from Latin America, and you were talking about how a lot of these suppliers have been burned because they would take go out on a limb and give us the best price, and then they never get another order, right? Which happens with a lot of e-commerce brands because they're testing out a product or testing out a market. And I think it's very important for us micro brands to be responsible and also understand, again, this is not China. It's very important that we're working together. It's a partnership. It's, if it is something new, we need to set that expectation for that supplier and not just ask for the lowest possible price and have them setting up all this equipment and these processes to get going, which is costing them money. And we're not paying any part of that. And then we never give them another order, right? So we want to make sure that we build the right kind of relationships and that we are good partners as well.
Yeah. Or at the end of the day, they can't make any money. So they end up not taking any more of those orders because they haven't priced it out properly.
Yep.
So, and that is a problem, that we'll probably experience a bit more in Mexico than we would see over in China. Now, I do want to just ask the listeners, have they switched over to US or more local manufacturing, or have they even dabbled in Mexico? Just let us know your thoughts on that. And also, we do have a special Wheel of Kelsey today. Actually, there's 3 things on Wheel of Kelsey, all combined into one prize. Amy, why don't you tell us what you're giving away?
So, well, we do have a special offer today for our Mexico trip, which is the most exciting thing we have going on this week. But also, I'm going to give away a free month to my mastermind group. And currently, right now, in my mastermind group, we are doing a 12-week course called It's Time to Brand, where we are focusing on helping you build your brand off of Amazon. So we are in week 7 of that course right now, but you'll be able to join us for that. You'll get access to all the replays, and you'll be able to build your brand off of Amazon.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. When I mentioned that earlier on, I thought you were just going to give away, a month, not a whole course, but thank you. and Tim, as usual, I don't know if you know this, and you might be ticked off at me now that you're on the podcast and you're hearing this, but we normally give away a free month of the Centurion League, which has got a value of about $199. And I just noticed, Rad, I see in the comments, Rad just joined yesterday. So congrats, Rad. Love having you in the group. And remember to join our call on Thursday. But we're doing that. And we've got a special bonus for our Mexico sourcing trip. Tim, do you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, so let me briefly mention what the Mexico trip is. We've talked about relationships. We've talked about trying to find suppliers. We've talked about the demand and maybe the need for sourcing Mexico. The problem is, man, those relationships are hard to build. Those suppliers are hard to find. And we have put together an adventure that will replicate, or it basically replicates what worked for us, right? All of us, we started going to China and figuring stuff out. The first time I went to China, I didn't have a visa. I had to basically sneak my way through the airport and kiss some tail to get in. But I just started shaking random hands. And what we're doing is accelerating that. So we've all done sourcing trips in Asia. I've done sourcing trips in Latin America. Hey, Connie. I don't know why I said that in a high-pitched voice. Hi, Connie. That was weird. Sorry for being awkward. And basically replicated what we know works, which is connecting suppliers with buyers, with educators, with thought leaders, with experience, and doing that all in one consolidated lump, which is a sourcing trip. So yes, in April, Amy, Norm, myself, and a bunch of other industry amazing people, like the list is huge. We're going to Mexico, and we're starting off in Mexico City for 5 nights and 6 days with a sourcing trip. We're attending a trade show. We're bringing in sourcing experts. We're bringing in legal experts. We're bringing in tons and tons and tons of Latin American sellers to learn from. It's going to be huge. So you can check it out at themexicotrip.com. And like literally every hour, we're adding new updates to the website. Our schedule coming soon, specific schedule. But for the prize, we are giving, what was the amount?
$500.
$500 off. And Amy created the code and I forgot what it was. So for the rest of this week, here's the deal. If you're interested in coming with us to Mexico, we have multiple segments. We have the sourcing trip in Mexico City. Then we're jumping over and doing a high-level e-com mastermind with mostly different speakers in Cancun for 3 nights at an all-inclusive resort, which is amazing. Or you can come to both. So Mexico City or Cancun or both. And we're knocking $500 off the price for that just through the end of this week. And that's at themexicotrip.com.
And our trip is all inclusive. So you are going to get incredible hotels, incredible meals, really awesome connections, learning, presentations.
We've
You're
got
going to get
entertainment, we've got conferences, we've got tons of stuff. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just got excited.
No, it's good. I think that it's so important for people to note that, it's really going to be an awesome experience.
All you have to do is get to the airport and we pick you up. So from the moment you land at the airport, we pick you up. Like Amy said, we cover your meals, we cover your hotels, we cover translators when you need them, everything. And the reason we do that is because we want you to focus on the connections, the networking, the learning, not the logistics. So I've always done that in China and in that Central America, and it's awesome. So we're doing that in Mexico. All
right. So here's the deal. Hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people and get an extra entry. You'll get the course with Amy. You'll get the 1 month Centurion, and of course the $500 off by using, what is it? Mexico VIP. Yeah. So now I guess we just have to get Kelsey on the button hit the sponsorship, and we should be good to go. Do you want to take your business global but are unsure of where to start? Z is the missing piece you need for international FBA success. They are a one-stop importer of record shop, including compliance and logistics services. They focus on all the elements involved in a smooth first-time custom clearance so that you can focus on what you're good at, selling. Click on the screen now or follow the link in the description box below and get $125 off your first-time shipment today. You know, one of these things I want to bring up about the Mexico trip, we haven't talked about it on the podcast. I mean, this is really, we just got everything up and going, so we wanted to talk about Mexico and why we should be doing this. But one of the important things are some of the people that are going to be involved with us. And one of them is Alibaba. So when you think about Alibaba, you don't ever think about the Alibaba's all over the world. It's not just China. And so they've actually come on board with us. They're a sponsor, and they're bringing that side to the table as well. And Tim, are they going to be doing anything, or Amy, are they going to be doing any presentations or anything to help people?
Yeah. So this was actually huge. Like if anybody's curious about the level of excitement that we have, we even have Alibaba has partnered with us on this. And the reason they've done that is not to come in and assert their dominance and tell us how to do things. No, they want to learn as well, because they want to connect people globally, and they're learning in Latin America just like we are. But they have incredible resources. So the data they have, the experience they have, they've had a local team in Mexico City for a long time operating, learning the whole sourcing thing, and they're presenting. So you literally get to come hang out with Alibaba's Mexican-based team. And not just Alibaba. We've got Helium 10, we've got Carbon 6, we've got Z, we've got all sorts of companies that are basically helping us add resources to this thing. We have local sourcing companies. We have, like I said, even people that have worked with the Mexican government that are involved with this. So Alibaba is a big one, but I do want to say they're not the only one. This is a huge group effort.
And also sourcing agents, specialty agents that are sourcing in Mexico. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. So anyways, we wanted to, you don't normally hear me talk about events or anything like that on the podcast. This is something that is near and dear to our hearts. And we think, like Bruce Buffer says, it's time. So now it's time to move on. What are some of the things that are different? What are some items that are go-to items that we could look at in Mexico, or things we should kind of stay away from? Are there?
Can I start before we get into products? Yes. And just help people also remember that there's a lot that you can do in Mexico that micro brands and major brands are already doing in combination with sourcing from other countries. So remember that Mexico isn't just an opportunity to source, which I am so excited to get into all the different categories that you can source from Mexico, but it's not just an opportunity to source, it's an opportunity for quick prep and logistics as well, and finished goods. So there are a lot of suppliers, manufacturers in Mexico that can finish your goods for you. So if you have certain components of your materials that you're sourcing in China, you can actually bring those to Mexico and have them finished, boxed up, all of that. And then your delivery timelines and your logistics are going to be much shorter and easier. So prep and finished goods is also a big thing that people are doing in Mexico, and something for you to consider besides just sourcing from scratch.
I got a question about that, Amy. So we know how the nightmare of supply chain management right now and getting product into the US. Do you have timelines? If somebody's shipping into Mexico, what are those timelines?
2 days. 2 days.
2 days. Okay. That's not bad.
Super easy. It's like DHL, like 2 days, you're there. So if you are, gonna bring certain components, if you're already doing components in China, right? It's just as easy for you to bring those components into Mexico at various times and then have them prepped together and sent into the US within those timelines. People are doing packaging, like they're just bringing in those components and doing packaging. And major brands are doing this too. This is a very common thing for major brands to be doing. So we can learn from all these amazing techniques and apply them to our own businesses and really save a lot of time and money.
Yeah, kitting, I really never thought about kitting and assembly. I know we use it extensively over in China. And when we had our factories over in Taiwan, we had home networks set up. It was such a benefit to our costs. The one example and this is something I could have gone to Mexico for, and I never even thought of it at the time, but we had a problem. We had a recall on some of the products that we had, and they were refrigerator magnets, but the magnets were popping out. So we had to open up this box of 68, open up the bag, take the magnets out, put glue in them. It ended up being 480,000 pieces. Now in the US, to get that done, and they were already here, in the US, it was a cost of $155,000. Over in China, it was 55. Now there was freight going back and forth, and now with the freight incorporated, I wonder, now Mexico, for those types of problems, and that's a big problem, but those types of problems, there's your answer. I wasn't even thinking down those lines. So yeah, kitting and assembly, cool idea.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about what's good, what's hot, what's not.
I'm going to pass this over to Tim for this one because he's been covering this extensively lately.
So I won't say that this is an exhaustive list. There are always exceptions, but generally the things that are the most easy to get your hands on in specifically Mexico right now are things that don't take a ton of machinery, engineering, technology. So it's really good leather, wood, ceramics, textiles, specifically cotton, even a lot of organic cotton. You can get some metal items that are either molded or poured or lightly machined, right? Like we can't get super fancy, metal parts, right? That take a lot of machinery. Now there are other things that are coming in hot in Mexico over the last several years, like what's the word we're looking for? Carbon fiber and composite materials, carbon fiber, fiberglass, things like that. More specialty metal items are definitely coming in. Plastics, EVA foams, latexes, silicones, a lot of those things that require molds, either positive or negative pressure molds. So it's a huge list. Electronics are lagging a little bit far behind. But anything from shoes to backpacks to home decor to kitchen accessories, like there's just tons and tons of stuff. Where China is going to continue to excel is the more heavily machined items, the more tech-driven items, and the items that require a lot more machinery to produce. But it's still a huge list.
Right. And I'm wondering, because I know that you used to do a lot with woods, wood products. Is that something that you could look towards Mexico as well?
Yes, absolutely. For some, there's always going to be limitations. Like with wood, people say things like, "Hey, what's a good example? Like, can I get this specific item made?" And we look at this specific item, we find out it's made out of mango wood, and mango wood can only be sourced in Asia, in that region. So there are some exceptions, but generally speaking, the list is massive.
Now, what about packaging? So in China, I can get my product produced at X company, have my inserts done somewhere else, just put them all together. Can we get packaging done, like digital printing done over in Mexico? And is it quality packaging?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, and you can even get that stuff done in the United States as well. So I see a question in the comments about sourcing plastic products, and I actually have a plastic product that is made in the USA in Addison, Texas. And so, yes, plastics Claudia, in terms of plastic products, it just depends. there's a lot more in depth that we need to know about your plastic product, like who owns the mold. Plastic products require molds, right? So are you sourcing a stock plastic product? Every single mold for every plastic product is different. If you don't own that mold, you're going to have to find the supplier who does own that mold and source from that supplier, or you have to find a supplier somewhere else who owns that mold. So, we need more information from you on that. But that's something to keep in mind. But either way, even some of my products, I get the packaging in China and they're made in the USA.
Right.
So you can play around with this, right? Like wherever you're getting your packaging from, I'm sure you can find it in the US, in Mexico, whatever. But remember that there's abundance everywhere in terms of finding these sources, and it's about how you're bringing them together and how it works for your business.
What about like for bottles, plastic bottles? Would they be sourced in Mexico, or do you know of any manufacturers in Mexico that can produce bottles, like say for shampoos or?
Most bottles, Norm, are actually blow molded. That's how most bottles are made, and blow molding is actually very cheap. And you'll notice, I'm sure, I don't know if you guys notice this, but I live in San Antonio, Texas, and it's basically little Mexico here, right? We have a month-long celebration called Fiesta. Like every other restaurant is a Mexican restaurant. There are areas of town where, just like in Miami, where there's only Spanish spoken, right? So I often, if I go to my CVS pharmacy right now, I will see shelves and shelves and shelves of products that are the primary language on them. They're bottled products, are in Spanish. If I go to Walmart right now, into the pharmacy, especially during times of COVID, there's medications and stuff coming from Mexico. There's Pedialyte type drinks coming from Mexico. So those products are already hugely produced in Mexico. So finding bottles and containers and packaging is super easy because it's already abundant in Mexico and already being imported into the US. The difference is that a micro manufacturer may not necessarily have those connections, right? So it's important for you to make those connections and realize that you may need to find the packaging manufacturer and work together with your supplier on that, right? You may need to find now, if you find a manufacturer who's already making something that's packaged in a bottle, most likely they know how to find that supplier, right? But that's what's important. It's why we're doing this trip, because we all need to be educated on the culture and the business culture, the business environment in which we need to operate. And in the beginning, whenever you're sourcing from a new country, you need to go and experience it and figure it out, because it's going to help you make those things. If you think you're going to be able to take that plastic product, for example, that you're sourcing in China right now, and just get on the computer and find a supplier in Mexico, that's not going to happen, right? It requires relationships. So this trip is your opportunity to really understand those components and those pieces and put the pieces together, and also discover those things like we've been talking about that we didn't even think about, like kitting and those opportunities that you didn't even know existed for your brand.
Yep.
So one of the things, Tim and I were talking earlier this morning about perceived value in bottles, and it's no different in China or in Mexico, but usually if you're going to your Mexico manufacturer, they are not necessarily an expert in packaging. So I think that's really key. That, and again, Amy, you mentioned this about building those resources up so you can find a unique package or something different that, okay, look, it's this same old bottle, same old jar that everybody else is using. I want to do something different. And where can I find it? And where are the suppliers in Mexico for that? So building those relationships with sourcing agents and just other people in the industry, I think it's really important, because it's no different than China. And the other thing that I think is important, and either one of you just comment on this, we have a specific setup when we're purchasing in China. it could start with the initial email, but we're not, like, we tell people, do not put in like just a regular PO and think that's binding, that you have to make sure that your pro forma is set up a certain way. What about over in Mexico? Is a PO binding, or do we have to do it the same way where we have 2 languages on contracts? How do we protect ourselves over there when we're buying from a manufacturer?
Much the same way that you do in China, which is through relationships first, right? If you can mitigate a problem, if you can eliminate a potential upcoming problem, then you don't have to go legally. But legally, you do it the exact same way. You have non-disclosures, you have non-compete, you have end-to-end agreements. All those things exist there too.
All right. And similar, like, we always teach people about the PO, that a PO is binding maybe in the US, but not over in China. It's the pro forma that you really have to pay attention to. So I guess it would be the same thing over in Mexico, except in Spanish rather than, Chinese. All right. Let's see. It is 12:49. How many questions do we have? We've got a few questions coming in. If you do have a few questions, please, or specific questions about Mexico, please throw them in. Kelsey, do you want to start on a couple of questions?
Yeah, and actually we just got a crazy little offer happening, or it's for the contest, a special Wheel of Kelsey.
What's that?
So basically, if someone is wanting to go to Mexico, they're loving this, they want to go on the Mexico trip, they put in #Mexico, and we're going to give away $1,500 off the Mexico trip.
Kelsey, who approved this?
Amy did.
So while we're on the podcast, Amy is overcommitting to even bigger discounts on our joint trip.
Wow,
Amy.
That's how it rolls. So this is for one.
It's just for one though.
One
like
person.
we can't give away
So one person
everyone.
gets $1,500.
Everyone's
They get $1,500 off of what? Both trips as a bundle, or the the Mexico City sourcing trip?
Yes. So it is either, you can choose either the Mexico City sourcing trip or the VIP experience, which includes the Cancun Mastermind. So this $1,500 off does not include only the Cancun Mastermind, right? This is for the sourcing trip. So you either can come on the sourcing trip alone in Mexico City, or you can choose the VIP experience, which is going to take you from Mexico City to Cancun with us, and you get to experience the whole thing.
Okay,
well, I'm take advantage of that, because this was not pre-planned.
I was just going to say that
out of her butt right now.
Yeah, I had no idea that this was happening at all. It's not one of these things that you plan.
This is what they get when they partner with Amy,
cool.
right?
That's cool, but it's coming out of your profits. No.
Deal.
Okay. All right, so that's great. If you're interested in coming,
hey, is that the biggest
Mexico
giveaway that's ever been on Wheel of Kels?
No, but it is one of the biggest.
Yeah,
We're getting there. We're getting there.
So that is #Mexico. So that is separate from the Wheel of Kelsey that we're doing today. This is specifically, you got to be going to Mexico though.
But even
hey,
the Wheel
Kelsey's
of
coming too. So
Yes.
all 4 of us on this screen, you'll get to come hang out in Mexico for a long time with.
A live Wheel of Kelsey.
A live Wheel of Kelsey.
There we go.
Kelsey, I'm going to spin your wheel in Mexico. Wait,
We'll actually have him on the wheel and
did that
just
come out like
spin
I wanted
him.
it to?
Yeah, there we go. All right, let's get to the questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, all right. So from Jason, is this trip appropriate for beginners, intermediate sellers?
Yes. And the reason is because it never hurts to start learning about suppliers and sourcing. I was actually going to China before I had my first private label product set up, and I accelerated much faster than nearly anybody I know because I was able to learn faster. I was able to shortcut. Think about this. If I wanted to learn how to speak Spanish, it's not sitting on a Zoom call with Norm. It would be cultural immersion, right? Like if I really want to take it seriously, I'd go down to Puerto Rico, plop myself down in a village where nobody spoke English and be forced to do it. When you immerse yourself, not only in a culture and with the suppliers and the business connections, but also just the other amazing sellers. By the way, this Mexico trip thing's limited. We're limiting it to 100 people. That's not very many, right? So the Mexico City thing's limited to 100. And when it sells out, it's done. But imagine being able to spend, 5 nights, 6 days in Mexico City with people that aren't just talking about sourcing in Mexico. They're talking about business in general. I've done these trips like this for years, and I've seen business partnerships spawn from those. I've seen best friends spawn from those trips, and I've seen just massive amounts of growth. So beginner, intermediate, or advanced, it's all valuable.
I agree. I have my own China trips, and I have on my own products. I've taken products that I'd sourced online, right? That I'd found suppliers online, and I've been able to meet those suppliers in person, and I've been able to increase my margins like crazy. Like one of my products, I had I think a 4x multiplier on it, and I increased it 10x to that. Like I left China with a 14x multiplier on that product. And it was all because I discovered a supplier who specialized specifically in this product. And so their raw materials were cheaper, everything like that, but it was a better relationship as well. So it's just, it's incredible. And when we talk about the people who are coming on this trip, not just the three of us, right? Tim and Amy are going to be doing a really cool kind of day one conference where we're going to kind of give you our take on how we find products, what we do. We're going to do a little private label mastery, which will be something that we've never done together before, which is exciting. I mean, for that alone is going to be really cool. But we have people like Carlos Alvarez coming on this trip. We are also connecting with manufacturers and helping them be educated on what we're doing. And Tim, I don't think Norm, I don't think we've even mentioned the Evo Latam trade show. So we actually are launching the first ever trade show in Mexico, the first of many. This is the one sponsored by Alibaba and many more. And you are going to get to attend this trade show. Did you know there's thousands of sellers and digital nomads that live in Mexico City? And we are going to be there at this first ever trade show, the beginning of many, where we're bringing micro brands and micro manufacturers together. So not just the conferences that you're going to get at incredible hotels, but you're going to get this incredible trade show at the World Trade Center. We're going to do tourism. There's so many neat things that we're going to do. The dinners that we've put together, incredible. So I can't wait. Everybody's very excited about this. There's a reason that, Alibaba was excited about this is because, everybody's wanting to get this going, right? And it's important to note as well that this COVID also has impacted suppliers. So what ended up happening, many of the manufacturers and suppliers in Latin America previously really just produced locally, right? They produced for local brands that were selling in their local stores, right? But when COVID happened, a lot of those brands went out of business. And a lot of those manufacturers realized that they needed to expand their capabilities as well. And they needed to start exporting. So there's also a need for manufacturers. Manufacturers themselves want to do this. So both sides are coming together, and what an incredible opportunity for you guys to make those initial contacts and be on the ground floor. That's why I'm excited about it. I'm by no means a Mexico sourcing expert, but I hope at the end of this trip, I have way more knowledge than I've ever had before. And I think that's why we've had such an overwhelming experience from speakers and sponsors and people wanting to be involved with this.
Okay. So Tim, it looks like you have to bounce, right? All right. So we've got a few more questions. Amy, can you stay on?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right, Tim, we will see you later. Okay.
Okay. So yes, we have a few more questions. Let me see. This is going to be difficult probably because you don't have the actual manufacturer, but Rad is asking, since there's no tariff on solar products, are there any solar manufacturers in Mexico, South America?
Well, I'm sure there are. I know that solar is huge in the U.S. and those companies have to be getting their products from somewhere. So I don't know as much about solar. So you would need to do some research on that. But just keep in mind the principles that we've set up from the beginning of this podcast, that it's all about building those relationships. So do your research. There's no easy answer like there is in China, right? There's no Alibaba, right? It's very important that you do the research, you understand your manufacturing process, and then you start building those relationships.
And one of the things that you just mentioned, Alibaba is trying to even build a much larger presence in Mexico.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, next.
Okay. Next one is from Nathan. Since Alibaba doesn't cover Mexican manufacturing, how do you pay them in a way that guarantees products are produced?
Well, I think, as Tim mentioned earlier, business is business, no matter where you're sourcing from. So you can pay just like in China, I don't use Alibaba to pay my manufacturers. I use wire transfers, but that's because I have contracts with all of my suppliers and I've vetted those suppliers and all of that. So I think we've gotten in the habit of using trade assurance on Alibaba to always pay our manufacturers, but that's not really
I've never used it ever.
Yeah, there's no need for that. So you're going to use the same best business practices that you should be using in China, and you might not be because you're relying on Alibaba, but you don't need to be. You need to follow the laws of the country that you're sourcing from, and you need to make sure that your contracts are sound. But if you set up a firm foundation from the beginning and you've done your due diligence and you've partnered with a good manufacturer that you've actually vetted, you pay them however they can be paid. Wire transfer is great, right? There's no need to, and there's lots of payment providers too. Like there's tons of logistics and payment providers, just like you find in China. I know we've used like Plastique in the past and a bunch of different payment providers in China as well. So that's what I would be thinking about when paying any supplier in any country.
Okay, next.
Okay, next one. Let me see. From Claudia, how do I find a sourcing agent in Mexico? Unfortunately, I cannot go to Mexico with you guys. I wish I could. Are there any tips, sites, resources that she can use?
So I would use the same principles for finding a sourcing agent in China or any other country. Number one, you need to know your manufacturing process. You need to understand how your product is made and the manufacturing process so that you can become a good partner, because anyone will take your money. Anyone will take your money, and you can be had by any sourcing agent in China or somebody who claims to be a sourcing agent in Mexico or whatever, right? But if you understand your process, then you can start doing meaningful searches that are going to help you to be able to find those resources that you're looking for and speak the language, because you can't really expect any sourcing agent to kind of take on that responsibility of understanding everything from start to finish. That's what I'd recommend, Claudia, is just make sure that you know your manufacturing process and then use that knowledge to find a sourcing agent that specializes in that manufacturing process, and then have them help you on the Mexico side of things. Do your due diligence. Make sure you're interviewing that sourcing agent. You could probably Google right now sourcing agent for Mexico, and you'd probably find a lot of responses there. But now how you proceed is what's most important. So how are you interviewing that person to make sure that they actually know what they're talking about? How are you vetting them? So make sure you're using sound business practices, and that's what's going to ultimately lead to success.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Google's a good starting point. There'll be a few at the event that we're going to be introducing as well. And I'm not sure if there's an agent, if there's a directory in Mexico that people can go to, the government agency that provides information. I don't know that. There might be.
Okay. All right. We have a few more questions. Amy, how are you good? How are you for time? Are you able to go a little longer?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right. So from Jeff, how long should a Mexico trip last, and how many sourcing agents should I speak with in a trip when I have limited listings?
Okay. I think I'm not really sure how to answer this. I mean, I think, only you can answer if maybe you're going to go to a trade show. So if you're going outside, if you're going on our trip, you're going to be able to be exposed to the folks that you need to talk to be able to make those connections within our trip period. If you're going on your own in a trip, you're going to need to plan ahead of time. Are you attending a trade show? Do you have appointments set up with manufacturers, right? So that's, I guess, I would say my best answer. Do you have anything to add to that, Norm?
Well, one of the things, like when you're talking to these sourcing agents, you want to vet them a little bit, and somebody who fits your personality as well. So you just want to make sure that they're the real deal, and it's just not somebody that's just starting out or a failed Amazon seller, that's trying to make money through sourcing now. So I don't think you have to go and see 1,000 different sourcing agents. You might end up seeing one or two. I know on our trip with Elena Saris, there was one sourcing agent that was introduced to different, to each person, and that's all there was. There was one person, and those sourcing agents stayed with people for as long as they wanted. So, anyways, I think if you overcomplicate it, or if you talk to too many sourcing agents, it might overcomplicate things.
Okay, and we just have a few more questions. I think these ones will be a little easier to answer. From Jimmy, how much is Mexico, the Mexico trip?
So we have a few different options. We have the Mexico trip, which is just the sourcing trip. And I don't know, I believe that one's around, it ranges from 5,000 to 7,000 for the whole trip. And then 3,000, I believe, is for the mastermind alone in Cancun. And remember, it's all inclusive. So it includes your hotel, all your meals, everything. All you have to do is get yourself there. So you can check out the pricing at themexicotrip.com, and all of it's broken down of what's included, what's not included, all of that. And if you use the coupon code Mexico VIP today, you're going to save $500 off either the sourcing trip or the VIP trip.
Yeah, and one person will get the $1,500 deal. That's correct? Yep. Okay. Next.
Okay, our last question from Marina. Can I bring my 10-year-old daughter?
Well, Marina, if you are able to provide something for the 10-year-old to do, I have brought my kids to the Canton Fair in China. So I have brought them to that. But there are some adult events, so you may want to make sure that your child has care during that time. So I think only you can answer that question, but feel free to reach out. Of course, Marina, anytime, reach out and we can talk through it. Okay.
And the Moon Palace, which is where the mastermind is going to be, is an incredible resort. I've been there before. It's beautiful.
It's my favorite resort in Mexico. Yeah. And my family loves it. And they have an incredible kids program. So if you're coming to the mastermind and you bring your kid, they literally will have stuff for your kids to do all day long. My kids didn't even want us we went to pick them up at the kids program and they didn't want to come. They were like, no, we're fine. You can go. And we were like, what? Okay. So much for family time. They love it.
Okay. So just before we get to the Wheel of Kelsey, let's have a word from our sponsor.
All right, just a second.
Press that button.
Banners are getting in the way.
Press that button.
There we go. Okay.
Meet Sellerize, a highly efficient suite of tools to boost your sales on Amazon. Get more customer reviews, rank higher, dominate the competition, just like the top sellers do. Sellerize is the perfect all-in-one solution to give your business the boost it needs. Get a free month trial by signing up with coupon Beard Nation. Just follow the link in this episode's description to get started now. Okay.
It is time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
It's time.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right. this is for the Amy Weiss's Mastermind and the Centurion League. Are we doing 2 separate ones, one for each?
No, it's all one. We're going to give a master, a biggie
Okay.
out.
All right, here we go. We're going to shuffle these up. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, and if you are the winner, please email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com. And the winner looks like it's Michael.
Michael, okay.
Michael Eastman. Congratulations.
Congrats. That's a good one.
Okay. And we have one more giveaway. This is the biggie. Let me just share my screen again. This is for $1,500 off the Mexico trip. So you will have to go to Mexico for this prize. So $1,500 off. I'm going to shuffle these up. Check the comments just to make sure no one's squeaked in. Okay, I think we got everyone. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Jason.
Okay, Jason
Fantastic.
D.
$1,500. There you go.
This is a YouTuber as well. So the YouTubers, you need to email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com. I can't reach out to you, so you'll have to reach out to me. And yeah, we'll connect with you and get you your $1,500 off.
Okay. Now, Amy, that's it. You're off the hook.
All right. Well, thanks for having me today, Norm. And thanks everybody for being here with all your great questions. That was so awesome. I can't wait to see you guys in Mexico. And hopefully we'll see some of you guys at Prosper next month as well. It's going to be great.
It's coming up soon.
Yes.
All right, Amy.
Have a good day.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so I hope everybody enjoyed that. We're going to probably be doing more podcasts about Mexico and how to source there, what to look for. It's going to be big. There is a transition going on, and we've noticed it, and that's why we got together and we started talking months and months and months ago about doing something like this. So anyways, stay tuned. There will be more information even after the event about Mexico and some of the things that you can do to make your online experience even better. Okay, so Kelsey, where are you?
All right. Hello. Yeah, great episode. Thank you so much. We got a ton of new visitors, so hopefully you guys enjoyed Lunch with Norm. Yeah, so if you are interested, we do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And we do these giveaways also every single episode. So if you missed out, if it maybe just squeaked past you, you can come back the next episode. And yeah, Nathan is asking,
Nathan. Yes. We're going. Actually, Tim and I are going to do something. We got something up our sleeve that we'll be announcing shortly, and we will be meeting up.
Yeah. So yeah, and that includes Tim, me, Norm. We're all gonna be at Prosper.
Yeah. Lunch with Kelsey.
And thank you guys so much. Thank you, pinkglasses.com. Jimmy, it was great to see you in the comment sections. Michael, congratulations. And Jason D, hopefully you get this message. Hopefully you're still watching and you get your $1,500 coupon code. So if you are the winners, k@lunchwithnorm.com. And if you're new to the show, head over to our Facebook group. That's where all the fun happens. Lunch with Norm, Amazon, FBA, and E-commerce Collective. And I think that's it.
Okay. Well, like usual, tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Got off a little frazzled. I don't know what I got to do, but I got to fix this bloody camera. I will for next show. We will start on time. No more, 6-10 minutes late, but guaranteed next time I will be on time. I won't be as frazzled, but thanks for hanging in there and being part of the community. We could not do this without you, and enjoy your Wednesday. We'll see you on Friday.
Lunch with